politics. This is douglAR politics. Yeah, oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. Yeah, douglAR politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. A lot of information. Good evening. Welcome to douglAR Politics. Sunil Narayan, my boy, what he turned big bat boy century. Runs after runs, over 500 runs and still bowling well, taking catch. Well done, boy, Sunil Narayan. When somebody wrote a letter, Kendall Karen, leave CPL alone. The PNM, the Prime Minister's CARICOM now realize 12 years after the douglAR tell all you that CPL was the demise of West Indies cricket, that the CPL contract was debilitating, that the removal of T20 Caribbean national cricket and competitions in order to facilitate CPL was a disaster, that CPL was created to mash up Red Force, and CPL cricket has mashed up the douglAR telling all that 12 years now. Rowley and CARICOM now realize that and saying time to renegotiate CPL. But somebody say leave CPL alone. Some letter to the editor Kendall Karen. So then why is CPL all of a sudden an issue? CPL was always an issue if you love cricket and you're paying attention. Yes, the thing nice. Yes, the cricket successful. Yes, the ladies nice. It's exciting, the game nice. But it's killing the cricket. And I told you, I'll actually give them a little piece. Or I can't play the whole thing because we have plenty information to go. Play a little piece on the coffee and doubles and coffee when I tell all about CPL.
The
Run it.
CPL was designed to scuttle and destroy that Trinidad and Tobago Red Force team. Your Trinidad and Tobago Red Force team. Let me now give you the facts. Sometime in and this is just off the top of my head, sometime in 2011, I believe it was, Dwayne Bravo and Kyron Pollard, around July, August, came into the office of the Minister of Sport. I was the Minister of Sport. The Champions League was coming up, and there was a kind of discussion on whether Pollard and Bravo would sell out the country and play for the IPL franchises. And at that time, at that late time, at the 11th hour, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board under Asim Basarat, who the PNM now give an award, a national award, was quietly taking, based on the contract, giving up his first right of refusal, his first choice to have his national players play for Trinidad and Tobago in the Champions League. Now the Champions League is no more, so you'll have to think back. Champions League was the champion from all territories clubs, whether in England, if it was Somerset, South Africa, Australia, the IPL, and all the champions will meet to play in the Champions League. And the winner of the Caribbean T20, which was perennially Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, will go there and battle for supremacy. January 2012, I believe it was, the Caribbean T20. Trinidad and Tobago win, right? So we qualify based on that for the Champions League later in that year. Well, now we have to watch something carefully. You had Sunil Narayan, Pollard, Bravo playing in the IPL. We have to see now if their IPL teams come 1, 2 or 3 and qualify for the Champions League. Whether that was April or May, it happened. So I went in cabinet and I got a $5 million approved for payment of our cricketers for the Champions League. I was in cabinet in Tobago and my phone rang, my BlackBerry, and I hear some funny voice going, "Hello, can I speak to Minister of Sport, Anil Roberts?" I say, "Yes, there's the minister." "This is Venki Venkataran and from India and thing, all kind of calls started coming. We want this one and we want that one." I say, no, these players are going to play for the country. The government is going to pay them. The contract says that we have first right and we could pick them for our team for the Champions League. They started to threaten and tell them that they wouldn't get contracts if they didn't play for their teams and so on. But therein lies the problem. Money talks and the plans started to come. They started to put pressure on Pollard, Bravo and Sunil Narayan. They started to threaten them. They told me, I said, "What happened, fellas? well, we going to play for our franchises because I say, listen to me, that's not how business works. But if you all have been threatened and so on, go ahead. I zip my lip and I hush my mouth after all of that work. And they went to the Champions League and they played for their various franchises. Within a few months, you heard about the CPL coming. The CPL, a group of about 3, 4, 5 white men who had no experience in nothing, got together with the WICB, signed a 50-year contract that no Caribbean international cricket between regions, between countries would ever be played again. A 50-year contract, so no more Red Force versus Guyana. Real thing, real national with real passport, with real washworth. No more Jamaica, Leeward Islands, no more T20 Caribbean cricket. It will be replaced for 50 years with this CPL thing.
Give you more on that, you know. But understand that the CEO of the WICB then had called me as minister and asking me to let Bravo Pollard and Sunil Narayan play for the IPL franchises. Well, the kind of French he get, I tell him, when you don't pick my Trini players because you have match in the islands or in small island or in Barbados or wherever, and you're picking players from there, I can't tell all you who to pick. But now, 12 years later, West Indies cricket at the lowest ebb. Even the T20, we're not playing consistently. And to not play a T20 consistently means your cricket is horrendous, because the real test in cricket is test cricket. And that takes concentration, skill, ability, captaincy, different type of bowlers, brain, teamwork, unity, intelligence, fitness. We just talk about T20 cricket. You know it's only now CARICOM and the Prime Minister saying, oh, they now have to relook at that CPL contract. They mash up the Red Force. The Red Force was the real standard bearer under Derek Murray, even though Derek Murray turned PNM and went and attacked the government that I was a part of under Kamla. Even though Derek Murray was transparency, and I still have to give Jackie Jacket and Jimmy Jim Boots, because I don't play emotion when it comes to if you do a good job. Derek Murray, as president of the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, was doing a good job following up on Aloy Lee Kwai, and they were building, and the T20 team, Trinidad and Tobago, was so solid that 7-8 players on the West Indies team was the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. And that's when we were topping the world in T20 and winning World Cup, because the base came from that. And all the other islands, motivated with passion and patriotism, were trying to chase us down. Competition breeds great performance, and players were opening up, and the thing was, CPL come and kill all of that. But it's nice. So why you couldn't have CPL and T20 normal regional title? Why? Because all of them looking for money from IPL, and they sell out the cricket, and now we under pressure. The horse done bolt. All you're trying to close barn door. So Mr. Karan, CPL was a problem long time. It's just you didn't pay attention. Talking about cricket, I see a brilliant letter here written by Pavitra Ramharak. Right? She is an attorney at law and a senior member of the Assembly of Southern Lawyers. This is one of the best written letters. I had to just quote it because this lady is extremely bright, succinct, and brilliant. Talking about Asim Basarat and cricket, because Michael Holden and Brian Lara and them say, look at this. They have to deal with people like this because it has gone on too long in West Indies cricket that people like this one don't account. But this lawyer, Pavitra Ramharak, in a letter printed in The Guardian, Tuesday, April 30th, says, TTCB President Asim Basrat was quoted in a national newspaper contending that a motion of no confidence was passed against Kiswa Chaitu. He breached the constitution of the board, and the board members took action accordingly, said Basrat. Well, I, the writer, Pavitra Ramharak, I was taken aback by this statement. I was uncertain as to how the Constitution was breached. If I applied reasonable thinking to the situation, I would have thought that an accountant, though in his position on the board, he was a treasurer, who had done his job diligently and was able to advise an organization of a possible breach or fraud or discrepancy would have been found to be actually performing his duty, not in breach of the Constitution. Given my confusion, I took the time to read the TTCB Constitution. You see how intelligent this human being is? This is how all of us have to be. When you're going to vote or you're going to take a decision, gather information, read the Constitution, read the information. Don't just hear bacchanal and lies from PNM and so on. So this lawyer went to read the Constitution. And she said, Article 22 of the Constitution, the Cricket Board Constitution, the cricket fraternity, to sanctions and states at 22.2. In cases of serious misconduct, the member may face a motion of no confidence, which must be passed at the general meeting of the board by a 2/3 majority. I did not see a clear definition of serious misconduct, so I continued reading. Article 27.1, which seeks to keep matters confidential, instructs the proceedings of all documents and all meetings of the executive and of the board shall be confidential and shall not be disclosed to unauthorized persons. So it leaves me to guess, says Ms. Pavitra Ramarak, the serious misconduct was reporting the matter to the fraud squad. If in fact the misconduct stems from a report being made and or TTCB documents being delivered as evidence to the misappropriation, then I am even further confused, as should be the rest of the country. So this man is guilty of misconduct because he see fraud, he see theft, and he reported to the right authorities, the authorized people to investigate. Ms. Ramharak continued in 2018, an audit by the National Gas Company alleged that the TTCB spent 12.46 million, which was sponsored without proper financial oversight. I must question whether the TTCB immediately investigated this allegation and whether this action was deemed serious misconduct and any motions of no confidence were voted in that instance. Well, we know that didn't happen. So, plenty money, 12 million missing, no misconduct. But a man do he walk and say all your signing check, all your hand name signing check without paperwork and so on. Just like what the Auditor General say about PNM. You see how PNM, birds of a feather, flock together? This Asim Basad is a strong PNM, right? The lawyer continues, Ms. Ramharak. It was also noted that in the alleged misappropriated funds, there were a number of checks signed by certain board members. Was a motion of no confidence held on any of these signatories? Did TTCB launch their own investigations into those signatures? And I would ask, who got the money? Who received the money? And ask him, where the money gone, boy? Michael Holding was accurate when he described the chain of events as madness. Imagine a legend and a hero, Michael Holding, had to say what going on under Asim, PNM, Basarat and TTCB is total madness. He said, I stand in the agreement when he said, come on folks, we have to face things like that and do the right thing. Just consider the image of our TTCB, that a person who had found and reported on what appears to be fraud was hastily and dishonorably removed. Yet the wrongdoer's name is barely known. It is no wonder that confidence is lost and sponsors are pulling out of cricket. The TTCB needs to quickly fix itself. Well, it can't fix itself because it's following Rowley, it's following the PNM. When the Minister of Energy, PNM, heard and saw that there was oil just coming up, ghost oil, fake oil coming out of the ground, she did the correct thing. Minister Oliveri, her board at Petrotrin went and did an audit into the fake oil. She was fired just like the treasurer. No confidence Rowley had. Moved the board too. Winfred Espine said, oh, close down Petrotrin. He get fired too. That's what the PNM does. When you do the right thing, you are kicked out. Basarat is a real PNM. Editorial of the Newsday. History of cricket's corruption. This is very interesting. But you have to remember, back in the days of Forbes Persad and Derek Murray, Cricket was on the rise and on the way up. Money was being spent as it should. Developing cricket competitions all were run. Primary school cricket was run. Schools cricket, secondary schools cricket, every match going down the road. International team. Everybody was prepared. And that's where we started to take off. And that's where Puran has come from. And that's where Darren Bravo had come from. And that's where Sunil Narayan came through. And Cooper and all of them came through that development program. The academy and the skills and the technology and the training. Lara now talking in 2024 after 8.5 years of PNM that we need technology. They say they spend $1.3 billion on the Brian Lara Academy, but they forget the academy and it only has seats that cost $135,000 per seat, when the average price in the whole Caribbean to build cricket stadium is $3,000 to $5,000 US per seat. But the Newsday says Michael Holden told the audience he was depressed. He had seen audited financial statements from Cricket West Indies painting a picture of fraud or questionable transactions. He cited reports of whistleblowers being sidelined, and he took aim at the Commerce and TT Cricket Board involving claims of blank checks, misused funds, and subsequent police investigation. This Basara, this PNM, just embarrassing the country straight through. The same thing keeps happening, said Holding. Brian Charles Lara said he knocked the lack of good facilities and academies. Brian Lara, who they knew the PNM waste, it was budgeted at $175 million. That Taruba thing was supposed to have 50-meter swimming pool, AstroTurf hockey, gymnasium, tennis courts, squash courts, dormitories, cafeteria, gym to pump iron and so on, science, technology, massage therapy center, physiotherapy center and so on for $850 million. The PNM spent $1.3 billion, and next $90 million, and now with World Cup 1 month away, spending some kind of millions there under Noel Garcia to refurbish the exorbitant overpriced stadium to host Papua New Guinea versus Afghanistan. But Lara, who name on the thing, is saying Trinidad and Tobago have no technology and facilities. Yes, we come in with those, you could put up those. And while I'm talking about Lara here, we debating the Sunday legislation for the T20 World Cup, and Amory Lollipop Brown say, one, that I ridicule Papua New Guinea and Afghanistan, not understanding that they have different levels of cricket, and Papua New Guinea and Afghanistan is not no big match that that eyes will be on, because when you invest in taxpayers' money, you want to see benefit. But Amory Lollipop Brown could not understand that. Archie showed them now, for example, Amory Brown, look at the ticket price. They have some other images there. Look at the ticket price for Papua New Guinea versus Afghanistan, $6, $6 US ticket, right? Now let's show another game. Let's see a big game. Oh, Australia, England, same first round, 45 US. So, oh gosh, the ICC and all, they are disrespecting Papua New Guinea and Afghanistan with that little ticket price. Why the ticket price so small, Amory Brown, like a little lollipop? Why they used to call you lollipop in university? You're spending too much time sucking lollipop. You're not listening and understanding. When I debating, my level of debate is above yours. It is obvious if we want to benefit like Barbados wants to benefit and generate revenue, you have to get games that people want to see, to market your country, to market your culture, to encourage visitors to come for years to come, to show the brilliance and beauty of Trinidad and Tobago. If you get 4 games. Yes, we have 1 semi-final after. We have 1 good game. That West Indies versus New Zealand. The other game is Papua New Guinea, Afghanistan, New Zealand, Afghanistan, and New Zealand, Uganda. That we games. All your mama guy in with brown package. What all you have in the brown bag is Noel Garcia like brown bag. But Brian Lara, the man who the academy, the most expensive academy in the history of the planet, but it have no academy, you know. It have no lecture room. It have no videotape. It have no nets. It have no children practicing. It have no coach to educate. It have no pad. It have no machine, balling machine. It have nothing. But all it have is PNM corruption. $1.3 billion. And Lara saying, he knocked the lack of good facilities and academies. The science of this beautiful game of cricket has significantly changed, he said. Participating remotely, we have to catch up. These lamentations, which are by now familiar, are the legacy of not only years of mismanagement, but also the failure of specific interventions like the Taruba Academy. Says the Newsday, you know, but they still want to put PNM in power, right? But we went backwards, not only in governance, not only from Kamla and her Minister of Sport, into Shamfa, who just changed color like a chameleon and have handbag now. But you cannot understand that cricket under Derek Murray was, and Forbes Prasad and them, the cricket was lifting, coaching, more participation. The grounds under Kamla, 89 recreation grounds, nets, drainage, all across the board. The big stadium maintained and utilized, free. PNM come and squash all of that. We gone backward, and all you come to say Lara will go up for PNM. Lara want to burn fire on PNM. Yes, his brothers are PNM. But you're going up on no PNM. They sully name. He wanted to take his name off of that thing. But they come in with a cricket academy in Twin City. So pan man, no pan center for all you. All you have to stay renting by Randall, and no pan center is going to turn into a Mumbai Indians cricket academy now. But Basarat, in the Senate, you make Senate boy Basarat. You decimate with cricket. Run it, man, actually. Show them what happened in the Senate yesterday. When you host, I know that the Trinidad and Tobago cannot directly impact the performance of the West Indies cricket team, but we indirectly impact it by the development of cricket in our country. When we won the T20 World Cup, Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, baddest team on the planet. When they pick a West Indies team, 6 starters, Trinidad and Tobago, whether it's Pollard, Bravo, Ramdin, Sunil Narayan, come down the line, Rampal could get a sweat, Lendell Simmons. Now, through the decimation of our Trinidad and Tobago cricket by this unfortunate government, we have the lowest number of Trinbagonians on the West Indies team. So my point is that one of the benefits of hosting, spending millions of dollars, refurbishing stadia and so on, is that your young people get inspired. They see their heroes and they can feel them and touch them and want to be like them. And they go and they get involved in sport, they get involved in other things. We have not even seen any essay competition for our primary school. We have not seen any intensity or passion being developed across the board. But we're spending money to refurbish. We spend 135 million for youth game. We get nothing, we see nothing, no benefit, but the money gone, but money spent. And this cannot be the way that we go forward. When we invest, we must get return. So somebody on the government side has to stand up and tell me what returns we are going to get. And of course, they could not stand up and say anything, because that's what the PNM does. The PNM is not about merit. This clung there's a constitution in cricket that these 11 or 12 votes of the existing executive, them could vote for themselves when the AGM come. All you hear what I say? Now the race is to like 23 or 25 votes. And them, they start off with 11 or 12 because incumbents could vote for themselves. All you ever hear that? And then this is PNM. PNM don't believe in merit. PNM to be a president, you have to be a PNM. You know, in the Senate yesterday, I telling them is a PNM president. They pulling me up on standing orders. But even the vice president of the Senate had to kind of agree with me. Run it.
Because never before in the history of Trinidad and Tobago have so few people brought so much shame in so short a space of time to so many. Remember to take the gospel of the PNM and to spread it in your homes, your villages, in your offices, and throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago.
I think this needs very deep discussion, amendments, and we need to be very careful. Did we sit as attorneys general and agree to that? We are sovereign nation, we are sovereign state, we are Republican, we have our own PNM president. We are here as a country, and these people cannot come here and do as they please. The PNM cannot even account for $3.39 billion in tax
Mr. President,
revenue.
on a point of order. Standing order 46-8, 46-1. And those are the 2 points of order.
Only
raised. Mr. President, I asked for a ruling on these matters. The member knows he made an insinuation that is completely unparliamentary.
Senator Roberts, 46-8 is upheld as it applies to reference to the President.
The reference to the
President.
as
A PNM President.
a PNM?
Yes.
I withdraw.
Thank you.
I humbly apologize.
Thank you.
And I withdraw.
Proceed.
You know, these people, like, they believe their lies. So their position is a calling stand in order that Kangaloo is not a PNM president. Play back the first video. Just remind people who Kangaloo is. So Kangaloo one day could say, preach the gospel of the PNM. Come in the Senate and oppress the UNC. And next day, hey, I's president, I independent. Them PNM really believe that, you know, look who is Kangaloo. But is a PNM president, yes? Or just shame, run it.
Because never before in the history of Trinidad and Tobago have so few people brought so much shame in so short a space of time to so many. Remember to take the gospel of the PNM and to spread it in your homes, your villages, in your offices, and throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, the people at Trinidad and Tobago want to take the PNM and spread it on toilet paper where it belongs. And as you're talking that, good riddance to bad rubbish. Had the PNM and the normalization committee would Romano the PNM, all of that gone. Be well done, Karen Edwards. Let's move into a new era of football. Do something. Start from the ground, the grassroots, educate the coaches, get sports science, move the team forward so we could really compete with USA, Mexico, Canada, Panama, Haiti, and coming down the line, Costa Rica, El Salvador, and going on, Jamaica. So good luck, good riddance to the PNM crew. Let some new life breathe in the football. Sport company, request for proposals for provision of playing field maintenance. All the playing field and them gone through already. The sport company now tendering out for playing field maintenance. Manny Ramjan, the car park and all, you could do ride BMX and go up in the air and make flip over there. And on top of that, Shamfa Kujo still arrogant. Shamfa Kujo, the worst minister of sport, she had time as a minister to be attacking people. Hear this Shamfa say, there we go with the trolls and insult and trying to stray from the point. Someone always get paid to speak up. Shake my head. Nevertheless, my point still stands. Whenever you're ready for public discussions about Tobago affairs, I am all ready and willing to sit and listen. You have a blessed day. Wait, they have another piece. This is the Shamfa. That's a lady who responded to Shamfa. Here's Shamfa Kujo. Candice Nichols, in the words of John Henry Clark, I only debate my equals. All others I teach. And I don't have time to waste fighting up with folks who don't care to learn. I therefore make my departure this time. Thanks for your blessings, beautiful. Have a fantastic day. Shamfa, who tell you bright? Somebody whispering sweet nothings in your ear? Some bald-head man on a red coat. Who tell you bright? I don't even bother with you because I say that could be like bullying because you're so intellectually inept that I don't even bother. You have the arrogance to go on public Facebook to denigrate, disrespect, and attack citizens. Look, Shamfa, Behave yourself, man. You should have been swimming down by Turtle Bay there. Faris, Grandi Corp wants money for luxury vehicle, not rent. Faris Al-Rawi, you the Minister Puya, from AG to Minister Puya, and you come in the Senate, and Senator Laida catch you because he ask you where the money for the corporations, and you come in there with your pompous thing without your makeup. Your face was looking kind of rough, but hey, makeup does really make a difference, boy. All your men who does wear makeup. Hey, Faris, how much powder you put on? But you forget it that day. Anyway, he come and say, he tell corporations to wire money. Ladies and gentlemen, when you are forced to use virements, that means that the allocations have not been disbursed. Money is allocated to corporations in specific votes for specific purposes. You have a vote for salaries, that money is gone there for the salaries for that period. You have goods and services, you have maintenance, you have rental for councillors, you have wages, whatever you have. So this man is saying that the Grandi Corporation did not use the environment, did not move money. So they're supposed to say, okay, we supposed to patch road and things to stop people tire busting. Let we take that money and pay rent. Let we take this money for insect vector to spray for mosquito to stop killing people and don't bring back malaria and yellow fever. Take that money and pay rent. This man is a total incompetent buffoon who has not released money to the corporations, came in the Senate and admitted it, and gallery in himself. The only thing the PNM could do, the total failures who could gallery. I never see nothing so, it's a sickness and like it breeding in all of them. Incompetence is like a COVID infection. Rowley get it 5 times, but your wife ain't get it, and he spread it to all of them on the red couch. NGC releases first updated energy map since 2017. Like Ron Harford was correct, there's no energy plan. Them now showing me a map of where we energy assets are and what's going on. Prime Minister Rowley, geopolitics could change dragon equation. Really? But Smallpin say the geopolitics not affecting. This was when he was in the Joint Select Committee back in 2016, 2017, when Rowley had lied to the Tobagonians and say that the Bridgman's Charter Party agreement went through the correct process and it went to cabinet and so on. And then he had to realize, Smallpin had to remind him, hey, boss, we went on the plane, we were in Tobago, it was a Friday, and you approved the Charter Party agreement for the crooked money for the Kobo Star and the Ocean Stem on the phone. Okay, the boss, this Lick K-Pax one. But Lick K-Pax is saying, Dragon dancing, USA renew license 44 and so on, we could still dance. Before that 2 weeks, he said BP was trying to negotiate for a 15-year horizon because they don't want to invest no billion US and then get blank. Donald Trump leading by 6 percentage points. Riots all over every university in the USA right now. No license renewal for Venezuela. This one, Smallpin saying, no problem, Dragon go dance. And Rowley come to say, well, geopolitics could change Dragon equation. What about all of those who rushed a year and 8 months ago when Rowley and Smallpin came and said, Dragon coming to dance, Dragon coming to dance, and you run and write editorials, brilliant, well done PNM, our future is bright with lies. It had no Dragon gas, it had nothing. They put all the eggs in one basket and the basket bust and the egg break like Rowley on the red couch. But no, it didn't work because the honey goat tweet didn't work. That is what you all put your country and our children's future in front. Elections have consequences. But one thing by them sodas make real money. NGC chairman on 13 or 16 board, getting 5,000, 10,000 per board, going down the road. Well done. Look another PNM flop. Look at them whispering. Nikwan, don't put Nikwan, put PNM. Nikwan shut down. And now they say Gill the PNM trying to go after the PNM government for what? Nikwan is PNM by PNM. Rowley, Franklin Can, Small Pin, Ainsley Gill, Allison, due diligence, Lewis, giving your assets, Malcolm Jones, from World GTL to Nikwan. Corruption, thing blowing up all over the place. And now it blow up in the face. Down to Republic Bank. I see Republic Bank, you put in the papers today, you got some big profit, $1 billion profit or something for some quarter. We asked earlier, what about the $120 million US loan you gave to Nikwan when Allison due diligence Lewis was on your board? How did Nikwan qualify for that loan? What has happened to that loan? That loan is a bad debt. The asset is not even worth anything. The 25 million in preference shares that the PNM sold the PNM for, the preference shares are worth zero. Potholes impact me as well, says WASA chairman. Oh gosh, wait, let me get tissue. What's his name? Was the WASA chairman? Ravindra Nanga. The potholes affect you too? Nanga, you want us to sympathize and empathize with you? You in charge of creating the pothole, boy. You in charge of fixing the pothole. You have the authority to handle the situation. You have the authority to manage the water supply. You have the authority and you are failing. Just like Marvelous Marvin. Total, complete failures. Under Kamla Prasad Bisesa and Ganga Singh, 74% of the population was getting 24/7 water supply in the house. Now we're down to 16%. The road mash up. They fix a leak down in Dago Martin by the roundabout 4 times. Must be spent about $11 million. It started a leak the other day and a man can't sink down in it. That is them. But Nanga, PNM Nanga say, oh gosh, the potholes affect me too. So all of us just enjoy the potholes. And y'all let's vote for these fools, you know. This is not even funny. A fool, whether they black, Indian, white, Chinese, Syrian, douglAR mix up, a fool is a fool. Whether it's man, woman, child, lollipop, whatever it is, a fool is a fool. Look a fool and show back the next 2 fool. 2 plus 1, 3 fool. That is what all you vote for. Don't tell me about race. A brain don't have no color, black, Indian. Brain is gray matter. And all we children brains flowing out on the road with bullet in the head because of these fools. All we babies in the NICU dying because of these fools. And you all talking about race? When you're dead, what race is? Corpse is a race? UDCOT unveils new logo for 30 and all you have no shame. But Noel Garcia ain't go in the picture, you know. Noel Garcia, no, let me stay out of that. Let me keep my no-teeth, ugly self out of that. He ain't in that. He in another picture. Any ribbon cut, any building bill. The hospital had no medicine, no Panadol, rat in the hospital leaking, orderly pushing, nurse on the back and pushing a patient, the thing. People lying down on the floor in San Fernando. Noel Garcia cutting ribbon for $160 million building. The building pretty, but people dead in the hospital. Noel Garcia building airport, hospital, fire station without fire engine, you know. And they want to open it. And Heinz Ball, oh, we going and open it. Come in the Senate and say, oh, this nonsense. Wade Mark, nonsense. All this. Heinz, Pomsite, Heinz, ride a horse, jockey back with a boy in his lap, body bag Heinz, right? Talking in the Senate about, oh, Wade Mark talking nonsense, the UNC talking nonsense. You know they had to cancel the opening of the fire station in Point 14 because the whole of Point 14 know they lie. It had no fire engine. But they had no fire engine for 5 years now. The chief fire officer 5 years ago said there were only 5 tenders for the whole of, from Maracas, Blanchishes, come down to Caranage. All they forget that? All they forget when they had fire in the Beatum, the citizens had to open the back of the truck. The thing couldn't even open. That is PNM incompetence. No lack of equipment at the fire station. Look at Heinz. Imagine this man so sleepy, so dotish, that he didn't know. Jumping on a saddle made for one man, putting a little boy on it and riding up in the boy K-Pax is not a correct thing. Imagine this man so stupid. He instinct as a man didn't tell him, hey, this ain't feeling right. Something wrong. For you to be so comfortable, so something wrong. You need to get an investigation, boy. Children Authority, all you need to check out that, Check out that for true. OSHA taking Paria fuel to court after death of divers. It's late, better late than never. OSHA, and get some justice for these divers. They say they wait along, Rowley going to meet with them and tell them condolences, the family. No money, no lawyer fees, nothing. Cops probing alleged fraud at Port of Spain City Corporation. But this must, all you must feel have a front. Corruption. Port of Spain. They have a mayor and thing. And this Chenwa Alain, guys, Manning Alain, Petronella are coming to you just now because you talk some, you are real PNM, yes? But and all you feel is a front page story and PNM cops probing alleged fraud at Port of Spain City Corporation. It's only PNM there. It has always been only PNM. From mayor, all the councillors, everything. Let me see, boy. Page 8. Well, you can't see it. What's this little thing? If it was a UNC, you would have get 3 front page with yellow picture and big headline. They have a councillor polygon with a road rage up in Grandy. The PNM thought it was a UNC because we have more the councillors there because we take the corporation from the PNM. But it's a PNM. How come the media stop running down the story? So PNM could do anything. What about the PNM council and the San Juan Lavante Regional Corporation where Pastor Dutton was asking if he pulled a gun on children who was learning about God? What happened to that? Let us go quiet. Because PNM, anything, they could do anything. 3.39 billion could disappear and they could attack our Auditor General and they could do anything. They could spend money how they want. They could have $1 billion in purchases and expenditure without paperwork. They could give MP. We don't even know the man named Monroe. He ain't no minister, nothing, but he's renter of building. 750,000 is who get it? Which MP? Is it Toko? Is it Monroe? We don't know. Monroe what? Is there no Soka Monarch? What is in the Auditor General report that the PNM don't want we know? Who renting building? Who building it is? Why they rent it? How they rent it? What's the procedure? What they put in the Integrity in Public Life Act? Where it going? That is PNM. Where the 3.3 billion? They could only account for 2.5. They say the Auditor General said she ain't seen nothing yet. Rowley, he will not respond to anything Munilal says. When Munilal say he flying all over the place, you know Rowley fly out again? Your country in crisis, another independent institution under attack by Colm Dwen Inbot, and Rowley out of the country. He gone Ghana. How come he always going Ghana? We ain't get no cassava. Minister Lahunt was what? A banker in Ghana. Minister Lahunt came in and swearing twice because he forgot that he was also a citizen and had sworn to be a citizen and allegiance to Ghana. Why Rowley gone Ghana for? Where he gone Ghana for? And then India, Mumbai Indians coming. Anywhere to have negotiation with big money men, you could find this clown. Anywhere to have a red couch and a bottle of honey go to it, you could find this clown. Anywhere to a 3-dog, a parrot down the steps in a dungeon and wait on it, you could find this clown. Anywhere to have Gatsby Dolly, you could find this clown. Anywhere to have Donna Cox, you could find this clown. Anywhere he and Foster arguing over Dolly, you could find this clown. Rowley defends foreign travel and say he bring back 17 billion. He bring back 17 billion. Them carry him account for what they spend, how they spend, what revenue. The deficit is 9 billion. When you check all the loans and things that they take, the deficit could go up to as high as 23 billion. They carry we debt to GDP, it went up to 94%. The economy started to grow back a little bit because COVID, everything was shut down. They say, hey, you see, we only at 77 or 79% debt to GDP. The foreign reserves, the US reserves, gone down from 12.26 billion under Kamala to 5.8 billion. This man is half the man of Kamala. Kamala have more testicular fortitude than this dunce clown. And all you're voting for him because he what? Black on the golf course? He just kick his own balls on the golf course. Ask the special branch in Tobago in the charity golf tournament. I dare him to tell me different. Rowley love golf so much, and you ever see he swing? He swing and Charles Barkley swing at a golf ball is about the same. The Prime Minister this clung, surprised that EBC changes. Really? The EBC is independent, isn't it, Rowley? You have no PNM connection to the EBC. Nancy Scope is not the niece of former Minister Coffey, Maxie Coffey, no relation whatsoever. Nancy Scope is not the best friend of Gadsby Dolly, her SAG St. Augustine girl's bestie and best friend. Look, so there's no connection. Look at Nancy Scope resplendent in a red jersey in charge of the EBC. This is the referee, the umpire of the elections. And you in Trinidad and Tobago saying that's okay. And PNM in President's House, that's okay. And PNM crush the Police Service Commission and appoint their own Commissioner of Police, and that's okay. They put 2 PNM staunch, disgusting Balisé juice drinkers on the Police Service Commission, and that's okay. Independent Senator I can't say that without laughing, and that's okay. They changed the Integrity Commission chairman to the neighbor of the blue hair lady who now going grey because she don't want the douglAR call. She blue hair, but once blue hair, always blue hair. You hear me, Madam Speaker? Your neighbor is now the chairman of the Integrity Commission, and your husband in charge of 6 or 7 boards. That's what the PNM, and you all say that's okay. Because PNM don't thief. No, they just take, they don't thief. Better messaging needed from the EBC, says the Daily Express, right? Express, better messaging. What about fairness, propriety, conflict of interest, apparent bias? What about independent institutions? What's wrong with that, Express? What's wrong with putting somebody who don't like UNC and don't like PNM and just want to have a fair democratic election? What's wrong with that, Express? I wonder if you put my niece as the head of the EBC wall, you go say, huh? Or my good friend from Fatima, from since 1980, my brethren, the godfather of my big daughter, put him as the chairman of the EBC now. He don't like me more than PNM. That is not my brother. We ain't spent many years together, fighting together, liming together, sharing memories together, right? This is right. All of you right-thinking people, this is right. This is the woman in charge of the EBC. The EBC runs election. The EBC chooses returning officers. The EBC arbitrates. We have an election that a UNC win down in Lengua, Indian Walk. But because the returning officer did not sign a ballot that a UNC voter stamp UNC on it, the EBC said, no, we're not counting that vote, so it tie. You have to have a by-election. But that's okay, because God don't sleep. And I promise the PNM, in that by-election, all you go get a curtail by 100 votes. It was tie, all you say, all you will get licks by 100 votes, setting up the curtail for the general election. So much so, the gerrymandering, the cheating will not work. Because when people power takes over, gerrymandering don't work. They try to gerrymander in Tobago. This woman, Nancy Scope, took instruction from the PNM, took instruction from Rowley, took instruction from the Parliament to divide Tobago from 12 to 15 seats. That's not supposed to happen. Nobody's supposed to instruct and direct an independent institution. They have equations. They're supposed to act. They're supposed to see for themselves and do the adjustment for themselves, not take instruction from politicians. But they take instruction in this country, and all you media, all you past permanent secretaries, all of you professors, all of you political scientists, you all ain't say nothing. Because we in Trinidad and Tobago, if you're not hoping to get a little something, you're coward and your testicular fortitude climb up in your K-packs. That's what we are becoming, a country of cowards, because that could never be right. But you know what Tobago did? Tobago between January and November said, when they saw that Rowley and the PNM trying to steal the election by instructing the EBC what to do, the people of Tobago revolted with a finger, and the PNM gave 14-1. But you know which one stand up? The one this lady and she EBC cut out. She cut it out so PNM. It survived a tsunami of discontent. That's how fair. She cut out the seat with the equation. And you all find that right? That is Gadsby Dolly, best friend from SAGS. Who's Gadsby Dolly? The Minister of Education, the worst in history, but PNM. The deputy political leader of the PNM. Doesn't that disqualify the woman from being in charge of the EBC? But let's stay quiet now. No big thing. No big thing. Stop playing politics with the TTPS, says Gideon Dixon, the head of the Police Welfare Association. Gideon Dixon, hush your mouth, boy. He talking about when the UNC said, listen, we are not allowing the PNM to put no commissioner of police to act here. They done crash the Police Service Commission. They don't have a puppet. They don't have we without a substantive commissioner of police. They put DCP Duns. Now they put Erlad, Sipti and Prey. And everybody dead in. The SSA gone criminal rogue under Rowley and Sleepy Rider Horse Hines. And DCP and Dixon, you coming to say that the UNC is playing politics with the police service? No. You playing politics. You accept the 4% and sell out all your officers. Kamla is 14%. Kamla is living wage. Kamla is Rudy Indasing and Rudal Munilal. Kamla is labor. Kamla settled 143 negotiations. 14% and upwards. PNM come and give all your 4%. You accept that. And your officers have to go out there. Why are you not hearing you talking about officers having expired bulletproof vests? Huh? Since you're not playing politics. You don't know that your officers have had in West End, for example, they purchased their own bulletproof vests, they pull together money, they just do fundraiser, and the old ones that they had that they walking around with expire bulletproof vests. I didn't even know bulletproof vests does expire like yogurt. And you talking about playing politics? Your predecessor, I just look across at you on the PNM Senate bench every time they need a sack in, sack out. That's what you looking for, and you come in to play, don't play politics. Look, boy, Dixon, you really are the right name. Move now, Dixon. But finally, we gain some justice, boy. Ya Elvis Saravia. When Kamla Prasad Bisesa said, this was murder on the high seas. And when she took it from the story, the statement given by the Coast Guard statement needed people, according to the late Dennis Hall, aka Sprangalang. About 37 people with a boat with one engine trying to ram up men with maneuverable, fancy, fast engine, powerful boat. Nonsense. Shooting. And a boat coming at you like this and shooting at them, not a gun. They had infrared capability, technology on the vessel to know it had no metal, it had no gun there. 37 innocent people and bullets fly and a little baby head blown off. But I heard went to the DPP and man get in charge. So it came late. But well done. What do you have to say, Botiwari and Vasant Parat? That you attack Kamla Prasad Bisesa when she said that needs to be investigated. To whom much is given, much is expected. And we could not take power, and you have authority and power to arrest and to take away people's freedom and use power against migrants, because that's not who we are. We are a loving, caring people. When Kamla Prasad Bisesa say that, Vasan jump out. Oh, she irresponsible. Botiwari jump out. Where are you now? Huh? Now that the DPP going and charge now, what all you have to say? Homeless reveal hardships, lack of government assistance, forced to beg in Trinidad and Tobago. The authorities just don't care. Poverty takes a front seat in the sunshine. Ken Ali. There are hundreds of street children in Trinidad and Tobago, victims of grinding poverty, home violence, and other social and economic crises. The government's social welfare system is skewed and makes no impact toward reducing the number of people living under the poverty line. Exactly. But they're going to dig spade to build a $144 million building so that all the poor people from Matlot, Mayaro, Manzanilla, Cedrus, Labre, Point 14, Caranage, up there, Toko, in between, in Edinburgh 500, wherever, down in Couva, Barrackpore, Princestown. All these poor people who have no money to eat, eating 2 meals per week, no chicken, just rice and cheap things. When Kamla give them 7,000 items off VAT, PNM put it back on. But they build a fancy building for poor people to come from wherever it is, to go by them, to get service. Glenn Ramadar Singh, in the Ministry of the People, used to do something called direct impact. As a member of parliament for W. O'Meara, I was so amazed at this. They come with the whole staff, the whole ministry is moved there, all the forms, all the paperwork, food card, this, help, disability grant, different autistic grant, everything coming to the people. The PNM say, nah, fire burn the people, all they suffer. But we have a nice building. And who built it? Noel Garcia, brown bag man. You doing the cricket. I see Taruba Stadium, lights on coming down here. Lights on, refurbishment. Who doing a refurbishment? Noel Garcia. Time to keep promises to the disabled community, says Guardian Media. The Guardian of Rowley K-Parks. Now it's time to keep promises to the disabled community. 8.5 years after Rowley shattered every plan and program that Kamala had in place for differently able, whether it was sport, Special Olympics, Paralympics, sport camps during the Easter and summer vacation, whether it was 2,500 grant for differently able children to go to school, whether it was books and laptops, whether it was autistic grant, 1,500 per child, not matter what job your parent does, it's for the child. All of that, the transportation, the PTSD special buses, the Blind Institute increased funding, the blind cricket team, all of that Kamala Prasad did, all of that Rowley took away. Now Guardian saying, time to keep promises to the disabled community. Number one, Guardian, we don't refer to people as disabled. We stopped doing that in 2008. We refer to people as differently abled. You are a media house, you don't even know that. So far up Rowley's K-Pax your head is that your brains get squashed and mush. Government wins vote. Well, boy, this is brilliant. The government come to the Senate to tell the Auditor General to force and put pressure to extend the time to do accounts that they couldn't account for before. They come there after writing pre-action protocol, after telling lies on the Auditor General, after coming in the Senate and creating fictional positions. But check the Express. Government wins vote 23-6. First of all, in the Senate, it have 15 PNM and 6 UNC. It have 9 independent that are appointed by the president, PNM. And yet, Express, celebratory mood. And what they celebrating? That the PNM, for the first time in history, under Colm Dwen Imbert, are unable to provide the Auditor General with properly substantiated accounts that could be put into a report form. That 3.39 billion was mistakenly left out in revenue. That 2.5 billion, they say that they could substantiate, but they didn't substantiate it yet, because the Auditor General has seen it. And 780 million, they can't substantiate at all. And then $1 billion in expenditure, no paperwork whatsoever. And the Express celebrates with the PNM that the Senate was used to allow the PNM time to ratchet the accounts. And that's a celebration. Well, let the Express celebrate, because I tell you, let's stop buying it, stop reading it. You, the people, have to understand that for the first time in history, this has happened. Never before. No Minister of Finance has ever gone through this. The government won, and then hear what the Express say. 9 of 8 independents back the motion. Well, boy, any children doing SCA and thing, don't read Express, 9 of 8. Express always get 9 of 8. 9 of 8 independents back motion. National newspaper Express. Brilliant. I feel brighter having read this article. I feel like I got a little bit smarter. Thank you, Express. Boy, they always really PNM. Dotish. The government won a handsome victory last night. This is Rhea Tate. Rhea Tate. Did you ever go down by Goddard Park? Did you ever went anywhere and saw 3 dogs? Went down a step at a parrot into a dungeon kind of office and saw a red couch? Did you? Let us write an article on that for me now. Explain if that ever happened. I don't know. Let me know now, right? Because the government won a handsome victory. This is a national newspaper. This is what creates the perception in the masses of the population's mind. You are talking about a government who failed its constitutional, legal, legitimate duty to provide the Auditor General in a timely manner with an account of the expenditure and the revenue of your taxpayers' money. So much so, they've created an imbroglio that they are attacking an independent office holder using the safety and security and privilege of the lower house and upper house to cast aspersions, to denigrate and attack a human being who nobody knew, who's not involved in politics in any way, casting aspersions on her character, calling her actions bizarre, calling into question her mental stability and capability. That's what the PNM did. All because the Auditor General swore on the Bible to do her duty for Trinidad and Tobago, to carry out her job and duties according to the Constitution and the law. And the Express is celebrating that those who didn't follow the law, those who didn't do their job, those who made errors, those who cannot correct the errors, those who cannot account for billions of dollars of taxpayer money, they won a victory. So the old teams won a victory, and the Express celebrates. This is the country. You all want to wonder why we have Rowley? Because of this kind of thing. And then you have the Guardian and the Newsday and TV6 and CNC3 and 13 radio stations. The government won a handsome victory last night as it received the support of all but one of the 9 independent senators. That's a victory. When you have Paula May Weeks, who allowed Keith Rowley, the PNM Prime Minister, to come and whisper in she ears and intercept a merit list and force and encourage a chairman of a police service commission to act in breach, to misbehave in public or in public office, to remove and withdraw a merit list, to install and remove a commissioner of police and install a puppet, and then put a next president who is more PNM because them preaching the gospel of the PNM. You are then claiming that the independent senators voted with the PNM and that's a victory. Have you been watching the Senate for the last 8 years, 9 years? Did you watch Helen Drayton, who jumped out and become a PNM chairman of the NIB? Did you read and listen to Helen Drayton? Did you read and listen to some of the independent PNM senators? Do you know there are independent PNM senators on PNM board? Did you see independent senators voting on their own sister matter with the president, about the president who appointed them? And you all find these things are funny. It's not funny. We're making a mockery of the Constitution, and then the Express is celebrating incompetence, corruption, poor corporate governance, bullying. The government won a handsome victory last night as it received the support of all but one of the 9 independent senators, extending the reported period. Imbert said the Auditor General could not reside from the letter written by Freedom Law Chambers, which had the astonishing allegation that he, Imbert, sought to backdate the amended accounts. Shouldn't the AG apologize to me for putting a blatant out-truth out there in the public domain? Now this is Colman, but I already told you. Colman but creates an argument and then argues with himself to say he did good. So he will come to the parliament and say, people were saying we should devalue the dollar. Nobody, not a man, woman, or child say that. Then he will go and say, well, yes, we said we did not devalue the dollar, but look, we bad, but we better. So in this case now, Freedom Law Chambers wrote a pre-action protocol on behalf of the Auditor General. And at every junction, anybody reading it understands that MOF means Ministry of Finance. Nowhere in the letter does anybody make any allegation that the Minister of Finance did anything with the accounts, that he submitted accounts, that he submitted a new account, that he backed it. None of that. He comes and concocts that concoction to make it seem like his attack on the Auditor General makes sense. But he got caught. But while they're saying that they celebrate, here the Anna Ramdas in the Express though, right? So the vote, the independent senators vote, all right? Because what else they go do really and truly? Because these clowns have messed up. The country's in a mess. But they didn't say that they just vote because they had to, you know. Because when they spoke, when they contributed, here Thompson I, who, let me leave she is. However, she saw no wrong in the stance adopted by the Auditor General. She seems to me to be trying to do her job to the best of her ability, and everyone else should get on with theirs. That's Thomas I. She voted with the PNM, but she is saying the Auditor General is right and doing a job, and these men are using the power to bully and try to control the Auditor General. Senator Independent, Senator Vera, I will support the motion as every as every sensible person would. Here's Vera. He said, if responsible people assert there are conspicuous discrepancies in the public accounts, it would be irresponsible to blindly disregard those concerns. We should have enough faith and confidence in the Auditor General's integrity, independence, objectivity, and competence to believe that she will do the needful, and we should be doing everything we can to ensure that the country's audited accounts are accurate and reliable. If this motion can avoid a legal showdown between the Office of the Attorney General and the Auditor General, he will support it. That is not no victory. That is acquiescence to the incompetence and corruption of the PNM to save face of Trinidad and Tobago. But the Express is claiming that's a victory. What could be a victory in such a scandal? But you know what? They didn't want you to hear the truth. Don't take my word. Don't take my word for it, you know. All the UNC could do is debate and provide you with factual information to give the situation. Why would the PNM want to stop the opposition from talking? Why would they want to interrupt, discombobulate the debate? Why would they want to use standing orders and limit the time of speakers? What are they so afraid of? Because they have the votes, as they say, 15-6. They have the votes plus 9 out of 8, right? In the independent bench. So what is so afraid of? But you feel like joking? Check how many times they stopped the douglAR. Run it.
The statement made before the debate was separate and apart. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I hear a long time, right? I'm not dealing with that statement. I'm dealing with the 44 minutes and 35 seconds of the minister's contribution. So let's get going because
46-1. This never happened. This is totally irrelevant.
Vice President, Standing Order 46-1. None of this is relevant.
Standing order upheld. Keep the arguments to be debated.
Mr. Vice President, if the honorable leader of government business thinks that his Minister of Finance is irrelevant, I agree with him, but this is what was stated by the honorable. I'm responding to the honorable Minister of Finance in this debate, in this house, and that is what debate is about. So,
46-1. This is a extending timeline. Senator Roberts. And what's the other one? Offensive language? The other one. Irrelevant, imputing improper motives.
I have
Point of
never
order.
seen.
This motion is about extension of time in section 24 and section 25.
This control of an independent.
Senator Roberts, you're really going outside the realm of the motion. You're going outside the realm of the motion. I ask that you keep it relevant, please.
Motion.
Point of order. 46-1, that's irrelevant. I have not yet responded to Senator Wade Mark.
Standing Order 46-1. The words of the Minister of Finance. 1. The member is misconstruing the words of the Minister of Finance, which were uttered in his capacity.
Point of order. 46-1. This is
46-1.
No, absolutely not. I don't give leave and I do not recognize you at all. Please, don't interrupt me. What is it?
It is okay if you don't give leave. Senator Roberts is speaking about a time that's way before this. What is imputing improper motives?
Yes, 46-6.
46-6, 46-1, point of order, 46-1, 46-6, and 53-1B as well. Extremely tedious repetition. Point of order, 46-1. He's persisting in irrelevance. 46-1. Imputing improper motives as well. 46-6. 46-1. He's repeating his irrelevance. Senator Roberts. 46-1. 46-6. 1. 46-6. 53-1B.
Standing Order 46-1. That is not the motion that is before us. 53-1B, tedious repetition of the same point.
Order 46-1, 46-6, irrelevant.
53-4C.
Now, make sure the mic up. The PNM may think that's funny. That's hilarious. None of those were repeat interruptions, not one. And we could not even do all. And normally Vishnu would do up a little thing on the clock and so on, and I did up and so on. But it's about 18 minutes out of 40. But what is the PNM so afraid of? They're afraid of the truth, of the facts. Rudal Munilal put down some of the facts in a press conference that the UNC had today. The fact of the matter is that all of that, all of those interruptions, they can't interrupt me here on douglAR Politics. But they kept saying 46-1 irrelevant. But understand the convention of debate in the Senate and in Parliament. You may have a bill and a motion on certain sections, but in piloting the motion, the Minister of Finance will make arguments, make cases, state positions, and once he opens up areas to debate, then you are free to debate it. So let us check and see. First and foremost, he said, when I said that he had told Senator Mark that he need altar because he can't read, he said he never said that. Run it. Inches of electing a tyrannical, oppressive, corrupt PNM
Point
regime.
of order.
Citizens.
46-1. And what's the other one? Irrelevant, imputing improper motives. In the spirit of debate, whilst you do respond, Tone, you mention now.
Vice President, the Honorable Minister of Finance said that these motions, that's the wrong one, but we just go with that one. There is no problem. Keep that one day. They kept saying that the douglAR was being irrelevant, which is absolute nonsense. Okay? So let me show you here and show that Colman Butt was disingenuous, dishonest, and claiming the things that he didn't say, but he had said them. He opened the debate and I was responding. And it was very important to respond. So run that video, watch clearly. The altar one will come after. Run that. I'm dealing with the 43 4 minutes and 35 seconds of the minister's contribution. So let's get going, because my time is short. He brought in politics, the Honorable Minister brought in. He brought in that the PNM does not want to control the Office of the Auditor General. He spoke about untruths and truths. He spoke about documentation being available. He spoke about the process. He spoke about dates and deadlines, January 31st, March 25th, April 31st.
Point of order, 46-1. This never happened. This is totally irrelevant.
Or maybe the honourable member does not recall what he said, but I sat here and I took copious notes of every word that came out of his mouth.
Much has been made outside of there, usual hysterical political allegations about attempts to bully and coerce people. Nothing could be further from the truth. I am here today as Minister of Finance, simply doing my statutory duty, utilizing the Exchequer and Audit Act to extend timelines that are cast in stone in legislation but can be extended by resolution to allow all parties involved, I dare say, to calm down a little bit and get together and try and have a reasonable meeting of the minds and try and see if we could have some kind of collaborative and consultative process leading to a proper result, rather than this antagonistic and politically charged approach with the introduction of this, I dare say, poison pill, freedom law chambers. It's really interesting and intriguing that the Auditor General would go to Anand Ramlogan for legal advice. And of course, you see the result. You see the result. Mr. President, what's the screaming all about? What's the screaming all about? Mr. President, I wasn't born yesterday and I didn't come in town last. In a letter from the Auditor General, a letter I referred to in the statement, I was called upon to retract statements, otherwise action would be taken. And therefore it would be foolish in the extreme for me to accede to Senator Mark's request, since clearly they are all acting in concert, because this is from Freedom Law Chambers. And since the Auditor General has decided to go to the legal advisor to the opposition for advice, we really don't know whether a special report will ever be submitted at all, or what it will contain.
I read, I can't substantiate it independently, that one of the issues that was raised by the Auditor General is that not all the supporting documents related to the reported revised revenue position have been supplied. Can you speak to that a bit, please? Thank you.
With respect to allegations about missing documents and so on, I really don't want to get into that. Because in the first place, as far as I am concerned, I have until the 23rd of May to lay the Auditor General's report in the other place and this place. And I do intend to do that. Because, you know, certain entities in Trinidad and Tobago love to twist, distort, misrepresent, misreport, embellish, editorialize, and just downright tell untruths with respect to what ministers say. In terms of what documents the Auditor General has received or not received, my investigations lead me to a place that I would not like to be, where officials on one side are saying we provided the documents, and officials on the other side are saying we did not provide the documents. And really, I don't want to dive deeply into that whirlpool of accusations and counter-accusations. And a statement was made in the other place which is completely inaccurate, but part of the campaign of misinformation. Because, you know, certain entities in Trinidad and Tobago love to twist, distort, misrepresent, misreport, embellish, editorialize, and just downright tell untruths with respect to what ministers say.
That was just part of what he said. And when I'm debating him on what he has said, They're jumping up and saying irrelevant, irrelevant. I'm just showing you all this to show the dishonesty, the disgusting attitude, and the surreptitious attempts to cover up the truth from you, the people. Because all the UNC could do is bring the facts to debate, but they're afraid to debate. You ever see a human being get interrupted so much? But don't get that. They can't rattle the douglAR and still get the information out there. But he talked about politics, he talked about freedom law chambers, he talked about opposition linking with trying to cast aspersions on the Auditor General as if it was politics. He talked about documents, paperwork, lack thereof. He talked about all of that. And that's what I was debating. And every minute these mama pool coward PNM, 46, because they feel it's a game. But you all have to take the information and understand. We are in this position because the PNM is corrupt. They cannot account for your money. End of story. Get them out. So, they also, let me read up from a PNM for you, just to let you know. Mariano Brown, former PNM Minister of Finance in the Newsday, Section 8, Tuesday, April 30th. Yes, I just buy it because I have to give you all information. Okay, or they don't buy these papers because they are nonsense. They are PNM and they push. But Mariano Brown, former PNM, says government embarrassing itself in Auditor General fiasco. Let's listen to our PNM. Accountant and former minister in the Ministry of Finance, Mariano Brown, says the government is embarrassing itself in the ongoing saga involving Auditor General Jaywanti Ramdas. He said he has never seen something like this throughout his career. It's clear that she, Ms. Ramdas, attempted to reconcile the situation by, according to her letter, by bringing a team together and auditing the numbers, but could not verify the additional 3.4 billion in revenue. She would be well within her right if she couldn't verify. She's an independent person. He said the Constitution said she must take instruction from no one. No one must control her. She must take instruction from no one. Not any Minister of Finance, not any Attorney General, not any PNM cabinet. She takes instruction from no one, says Mariano Brown. Because the Constitution is clear. The PNM didn't even want me to quote Section 116 of the Constitution, which creates the position of Auditor General. Her job, says Mariano PNM Brown, is to present an independent opinion on the numbers as presented. And all the evidence suggests that's what she was doing. You can't tell me where the numbers are. I have to see them. I have to be satisfied independently. There's nothing that tells me that she was wrong. I don't know what else she could do in these circumstances. I think, says Mariano PNM Brown, I think it embarrasses the government because I don't think we've ever been in this position before. He said the government was clearly responsible and ministers must be viewed as managers. So something happened. I don't know what it is, but it is not a small number. And in those circumstances, you can't tell the auditor, you have to do it, and you must do it. That will not work. You cannot instruct, you cannot coerce, you cannot force, you cannot threaten, you cannot send pre-action protocol. The government cannot control the Auditor General. And when I come to debate that, when Colmimbert opened the debate saying the PNM, the government has no desire to control, and the Minister of Public, wherever she is, Public Administration, Alison West said, we don't want to control. We never want to control. We didn't try to bully or control. Do you know what they jump up to stop me 26 times in 40 minutes? When I'm trying to show that the PNM is all about controlling independent institutions, whether it's the office of the president, whether it's the commissioner of police, whether it's the police service commission, whether it's the integrity commission. They put pressure on the DPP. They're trying to control some of the judges who forget that their brother is on EMBD board. They're controlling across the board. They even control the media. But look for yourself. When I try to debate control to show, look at how these PNM jump up like ants on a hot tin roof. Run it. I'm dealing with the 40 4 minutes and 35 seconds of the minister's contribution. So let's get going, because my time is short. He brought in politics, the Honorable Minister brought in. Next one, it's difficult because I have on the same suit, there's the same contribution. Run it. Because my time is short. He brought it coming. All you stay on. All you need to hear this. And just understand the PNM. Run it. The PNM does not want to control the office of the Auditor General. He spoke about untruths and truths. He spoke about documentation being available. He spoke about the process. He spoke about dates and deadlines, January 31st, March 25th, April 31st.
Point of order, 46-1. This never happened. This is totally irrelevant.
Or maybe the honourable member does not recall what he said, but I sat here and I took copious notes of every word that came out of his mouth.
Much has been made outside of there, usual hysterical political allegations about attempts to bully and coerce people. Nothing could be further from the truth. I am here today as Minister of Finance, simply doing my statutory duty, utilizing the Exchequer and Audit Act to extend timelines that are cast in stone in legislation but can be extended by resolution to allow all parties involved, I dare say, to calm down a little bit and get together and try and have a reasonable meeting of the minds and try and see if we could have some kind of collaborative and consultative process leading to a proper result, rather than this antagonistic and politically charged approach with the introduction of this, I dare say, poison pill, freedom law chambers. It's really interesting and intriguing that the Auditor General would go to Anand Ramlogan for legal advice. And of course, you see the result. You see the result. Mr. President, what's he screaming all about? What's he screaming all about? Mr. President, I wasn't born yesterday and I didn't come in town last. In a letter from the Auditor General, a letter I referred to in the statement, I was called upon to retract statements, otherwise action would be taken. And therefore, it would be foolish in the extreme for me to accede to Senator Mark's request, since clearly they are all acting in concert, because this is from Freedom Law Chambers. And since the Auditor General has decided to go to the legal advisor to the opposition for advice, we really don't know whether a special report will ever be submitted at all, or what it will contain.
I read, I can't substantiate it independently, that one of the issues that was raised by the Auditor General is that not all the supporting documents related to the reported revised revenue position have been supplied. Can you speak to that a bit, please? Thank you.
With respect to allegations about missing documents and so on, I really don't want to get into that. Because in the first place, as far as I am concerned, I have until the 23rd of May to lay the order.
We're going to mix up it started with the word control. Check and see if you have another one. It should be 4 minutes long. We won't play the whole thing. But the whole debate, the PNM was talking about control. That one should be maybe 4:51. Check and see if you have another one. Run away. A tyrannical, oppressive, corrupt PNM
Point
regime.
of order.
Citizens.
46-1. And what's the other one? Irrelevant, imputing improper motives.
In the spirit of debate, whilst you do respond, Tone, you mention now.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Honourable Minister of Finance said that these motions are not to try to control the Auditor General. I am here to debate that point made by the Honourable Minister of Finance. Was that point that the UNC, the United National Congress, is making is the same point that the PNM Mariano Brown is making. That the PNM has tried to control, to coerce, to threaten, and to bully the Auditor General into doing something that she deems to be illegal and unconstitutional. So far that the Attorney General went to write a pre-action protocol letter to an independent officer holder in trying to force her to act in the way that the PNM wants. And he had taken a side already of the government and the Auditor General, who requires protection and advice from the Attorney General in the carrying out of her function, asked for advice, and he could not advise because he was already in an adversarial position against the Auditor General. Says that she will go and get some independent advice, and of course the government will pay for it, which is obvious. Government must pay. The Auditor General is not suing or protecting herself in her own individual personal capacity in her job as Auditor General to protect the money and the purse of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. You know them disgusting PNM trying now not to pay the attorneys of the Auditor General. But when we talk about control, this was a quote I was reading in the Senate from Keith Sobian, a PNM former Attorney General, right? But they stopped me from even quoting PNM. They're so frightened. They so know that the people are sick of them and that they've been caught and the corruption is in the face of everyone to see. They could try to stop debate how much they want. Here the quote from Keith Sobian, August 5th, 1995, because the PNM cannot get away from the DNA, which is to control every independent institution. The PNM must have control. Why? Because they suck. They're not good, so that nobody would want them. Nobody would actively choose them. They need to control. The independence gives them a rash. Merit makes them sick. They just want to control everything and thrust the PNM upon you to oppress you. Keith Sobian said, August 5th, 1995, Hansard, the government, PNM government, is committed to maintaining our democracy, which is founded on the principle that the elected members of parliament must uphold the constitution and the law. It is no part of our tradition that any person or group of persons, whether elected or not, should seek to control or overturn our parliament and other democratic institutions. Any such action must be firmly resisted by right-thinking citizens and met with the appropriate legal and constitutional response. Taking Keith Sobian words, former PNM Attorney General, what this current Attorney General Limo, what Imbert is doing is unconstitutional and should not happen. But do you know the ironic thing? Keith Sobian uttered these amazing democratic words while the PNM was calling a state of emergency to get rid of the Speaker, Oka C. Paul. That was another instance of PNM, the DNA, to control. And if you don't do as they say, they get rid of you. And they will go to any means, no matter how far, no matter how oppressive, in order to regain control of you. Oka C. Paul, they call a state of emergency for the whole of Port of Spain in order to remove the Speaker, because the Speaker would not do their bidding. That's PNM. And when I started to talk about that, and then I was going to talk, they mentioned Sat Sharma, the Attorney General Limo quoted from a judgment, a dictum of Satnarayan Sharma, former Chief Justice, when he said that separation of powers doesn't mean you cannot talk. Well, that's obvious. Nobody said you cannot talk. You could discuss, you could share information, you could give advice, you could give opinion. But you cannot control, you cannot coerce, you cannot instruct an independent office holder on what to do. But when they mention Sat Sharma, and when I come to read and show the PNM DNA by reading out some from the Privy Council, the judgment, which took 15 years to get the truth, with John Henry Smith, which is the airport case in the Privy Council. Listen to this, what the Privy Council said about the PNM involvement and the PNM attempts to control poison and conflict of interest, bias, actual bias, corruption, bribery, bringing pressure to bear. But it took 15 years for the truth to come out. This goes back to Bastio Pandey, to the airport case, and Sherman McNichols, the chief magistrate. Lord Malcolm said, these appeals from two related decisions of the Court of Appeal of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago concern an application for the recusal of a judge presiding over criminal proceedings on the ground of apparent bias. They arise in the context of the long-running and extraordinary set of circumstances. The test for such a recusal is whether a fair-minded and informed member of the public who considered the facts would conclude that there was a real possibility that the judge was biased. On 24th April 2006, Chief Magistrate Sherman McNichols convicted Mr. Bastio Pandey and imposed the maximum sentence. Okay? In July 2006, remember the name Sherman McNichols, you know. In July 2006, the police charged Chief Justice Satnarayan Sharma with attempting to pervert the course of justice. Subsequently, he was prosecuted, with the Chief Magistrate being prospectively the main witness in the case. So Sherman McNichols is the main witness. First of all, he locked up Pandey. Then he going to charge Satnarayan Sharma. Right? But let's find out, what is this Chief Magistrate? What was his connection? What did the PNM do? How did they try to control? Was there any control over this Sherman McNichols? No doubt there may be cases where circumstances peculiar. Sorry, I won't read that too much. Given the lengthy recital of the background circumstances, it will be apparent by now that there were numerous potential causes for concern. This is the Privy Council across the pond. And that's why PNM want to keep CCJ, because they could control CCJ because of the interlocking directorships, relationships, cocktail parties, and PNM in their DNA. PNM, Balize juice poisoning the pool. That's why they don't want the Privy Council. Privy Council don't know nothing about flipping PNM. So Privy Council, they just hear argument, listen to facts, and rule. Hear this. Now remember, Pandey get charged, prison sentence. The same man, McNichols, charging the Chief Justice, you know. Okay. I wonder why. Let's find out, Privy Council. Given the lengthy recital of the background circumstances, it will be apparent by now that there were numerous potential causes for concern. Concentrating for the moment on just one of them, namely the Chief Magistrate, Sherman McNichols, the man who locked up Pandey and charged and was the main witness to charge Sat Sharma, that the Chief Magistrate, being beholden to the Attorney General, the Attorney General at the time is the PNM Attorney General, by January 2008, and in particular after the Mustill inquiry revelations, it was clear that no benign construction was available in respect of his receipt and banking of the $400,000. By then, the full extent of his indebtedness to the Attorney General, the PNM Attorney General, indebted because the PNM organized with Montai and PNM, former treasurer and so on, to pay up, to get him out of debt, $400,000. And this man went and charged Pandey. This man went to say he is witness to Sat Sharma. That the Attorney General could be appreciated. It is not difficult to imagine his gratitude, say the Privy Council, the board of the Privy Council. He had the Attorney General to thank for resolving his serious financial problems and shutting down an investigation into his reprehensible conduct. So the PNM not only helped him come out of debt $400,000, they shut down an investigation into his reprehensible conduct, says the Privy Council. When all of the various sources of concern are considered, together, the observer would be likely to agree with the appellant's submission that by January 2008, the Chief Magistrate was hopelessly compromised. But that took 15 years to come out. 15 years of PNM oppression. 15 years of PNM lies. 15 years of PNM concoction. 15 years of PNM controlling independent officers. 15 years of PNM bribery. 15 years of PNM bringing pressure to bear on independent office holders. And now you have the Auditor General. Do you know Sherman McNichols then said, the PNM, they went to try to remove Sachama, to invoke Section 137 of the Constitution. And the DPP wanted Sherman McNichols to go in the court under cross-examination and face lawyers to find out all of this. The PNM Attorney General instructed Sherman McNichols, don't go in no open court. Say you say that they had two things going on simultaneously. You go in the political one, the 137, section 137. Don't go in no open court. Don't go and sit down for no cross-examination. Because what? When he sit down there, the truth would have come out then and there, not 15 years later. That's what the PNM does. That's what they do to try to control. That is the pressure being brought to bear on the Auditor General. We now know who she is. We never know who she is. They now calling she a UNC. They're attacking and balling Freedom Law Chambers and so on, because that is the oppression and the control of the PNM. They didn't want me to say all of this and show the facts and the track record of the PNM in the Parliament, but I would do it here for y'all and douglAR politics. And before we go, I know I run out of time, but condolences to all those families who lost little babies. Last count says 21. Petronella Manning, I'll ignore your statement to say that people like us who fight for the children, who fight to make sure that the Ministry of Health improves and ensures that whether you're poor, middle income, rich, everybody could get a chance to live, a chance at good health care. That the Minister of Health is a complete blithering idiot. For you, your PNM doctor, to come and say that people like me who are really upset and have heard that the resources are not being given to the nurses and doctors, and that the information was trying to be stymied and silenced and secret, and babies are dead, that we are vulgar, we are trying to benefit. Not us. The country needs to benefit from the removal of an incompetent dunce Minister of Health who has overseen too many deaths of children that are preventable. It's not an accident, it's incompetence. Incompetent pegs in wrong holes. In Davlin Thomas, in WRHA, the Minister of Health who cannot pass a pharmacological exam. That is what we are fighting for. Change. When Kamala is Prime Minister, pure specialist doctor is Minister of Health. The RHAs will have doctors around so they can understand, work with those qualified specialists and ensure that practices are put in place, that leadership is there, that attention to detail makes sure that people don't have to go home with an empty bassinet and an empty blanket. Shame on you, Dr. Manning, to come and play politics and your son or somebody, some mayor of Port of Spain. Why you don't tell me about what's going on with the fraud accusations there at Port of Spain Corporation? You come to say that people who are highlighting, remember this only came out because of an Express article weeks after the babies were dead. People are fighting. So you saying that every case that is brought of malpractice in the US or UK and so on, that has been brought for 40, 50 years, all of that was vulgar? When it caused processes and doctors and hospitals to improve and to make sure that people's lives are respected, that's called vulgar, Dr. Petronella. Yes, the parents are grieving. But you are saying that us talking and empathizing and supporting them and ensuring that none of us have to go through that pain to ensure that those in charge, when you come for politics, when you say you want to lead, when you want to be a minister, you have to be bright, you have to be competent, you have to have heart, you have to be efficient, you have to manage well. Diyal Singh is an incompetent clown. He is the minister of death. Run it.
Doubles and Coffee, the Minister of Health, your Minister of Health, for the last 8 years and 8 months, came to you at a press conference, read a brief from UDCOT that he boasted he got from UDCOT to say at the Couva Children's Hospital, built by Kamla Prasad Bissessa and ready to be open since 2015, before the election where PNM stole the election. That Minister of Health, Terence Diyal Singh, the Minister of Death, read from a document and said that he has now been briefed by UDCOT to say that the Couva Children's Hospital does not have a NICU, does not have an intensive unit for newborn babies, preterm and so on. Doesn't it worry you that a man has been in charge of a portfolio for 8 years and 8 months, and he requires a brief, first of all, from UDCOT? So he never went to look. He never went to check. He didn't read a brochure. He didn't read any specs on the Couva Children's Hospital, which falls under his purview and was built to save the lives of children. He need a brief from Noel Garcia and UDCOT. Then, when he get the brief, he actually went and read out an erroneous false brief. And therefore, for 8 years and 8 months, he did not know that he had added facilities to protect our children, to give them a better percentage chance of life, of living, better technology, pristine conditions that may have prevented the decimation and the tragedy that we are facing here, with 11, now 12 babies dead. And then this Terence Diyal Singh comes in the Senate and tells the opposition that no independent investigator will be tolerated. There's no space for independent investigators, that they must do it internally. So you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, your pain, your sorrow, the family's pain, the tragedy, we will only get answers from an internal investigation. Himself unto himself, PNM investigating PNM. And the head PNM is so dotish, he doesn't even know what assets are under his purview. 8 years and 8 months later, don't take my word for it, All you go say the douglAR lie, that no human being could be as dotish as the Minister of Death, Terence Diyal Singh. Well, watch this. Run it.
I have a brief from UDCOT, which says, as far as the Couva Hospital is concerned, there was no NICU.
This is the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit. This is where, at the Couva Children's Hospital, we will offer care for our nation's most vulnerable. What you see here is a neonatal incubator. This offers a cocoon-like environment with optimal thermoregulation and protection from external factors. At the Couva Children's Hospital, we have 2 dedicated nursery areas, with a centrally located nurse station for optimal monitoring and supervision. Also unique to the hospital are these viewing windows behind me. This is where the relatives of the infant can meet them for the first time.
The PNM could play games with 21 little babies, 21 little angels dead, and you playing politics, and a doctor, because he's a PNM, playing politics. The Couva Children's Hospital was there, built by Kamla Prasad Bissessa, outfitted with state-of-the-art, with NICU, for baby, for neonates, maternity ward, delivery, surgery, cesarean section, anything and everything under the sun for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The malicious, vindictive, sickening, heartless, nasty, evil PNM leave the hospital closed because Kamala built it. And now you have 21 dead babies. 2018 you had 7 or 8, and you are coming to say that that's okay. And for us to make the point that this cannot continue, that people with competence, people who study, professionals, this was on the heels of the COVID-19 debacle and fiasco, where chief of staff and specialist doctors were so perturbed and put off by the idiotic management of people who had no medical qualification whatsoever. People were dying in the HDU. People were dying in the ICU at 94% death rate. You had to go in the ICU with a suit because you're coming out casket sharp, dead. And you think this is a game? Babies' lives? But tell us to shut up so the parents could grieve. God bless the parents. I can't even imagine the pain they're going through. And I hope no other mother has to go through this, because this is preventable. The Couva Children's Hospital was there, built by Kamala Prasad Bisesa, ready to save children so that people could get, at every income level, the best health care. The PNM sucks. And if any of you could vote for that, shame on all you. Good night.